Okay, good day everyone. So for today's lesson, we will be configuring the Cisco router with its basic configuration. By the way, this lesson is derived or coming from the Switching, Routing, and Wireless Essentials version 7.0. So let's go ahead and jump in directly to our topic, which is the basic router configuration. So let me zoom out first. Okay, excuse me. So we have here the basic router configuration, and assuming that you already know the fundamentals of setting up the console line console 0 of and line VTY 04, the necessary security or password for your devices. So let's go ahead and let's not include this one. So I assume that you already know how to set that one. Of course, loading the banner. So let's jump in directly to our topic, which is this topology. So we have here R1 and R2. We also have one, two, three, four switches, and then for our end devices, we have one, two, three, four pieces or computers to be added. So let's go ahead and open up our packet tracer, and we're going to use the same topology as this one, and we're also going to use the same subnet or network address for this lesson or for this activity. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our packet tracer. So in here, we will select, of course, the networking devices. So we're just going to use uh, let's say 2901 router. So let's add another one. So we're going to rename this one as R1. This one will be R2. And then for the switches, we're going to use 2960. And then we have here also end devices. We will going to add 3, 2, and then 4 P6. Okay. So we have here, let's go ahead and rename this one PC4. Then we have here PC3, PC2, and PC1. There you go. And then based on topology, there are two switches. So we're going to add another switch. Okay, let's go ahead and add another switch. All right. So this one will be switch 1 or S1, and then S2, S3, and then switch 4. Okay, and then we're going to put cabling on this end devices and networking devices. So right, so we're going to have first serial DCE. By the way, I think there is no serial installed on this router, so we're going to turn off, and then we're going to choose this one right here. So select this one, drag and drop to the router, and power on the device. So the same applies with the router too. So turn it off, and then select the serial, then drag and drop, and then turn it on the router. So now we do have now the serial connect extension to our routers. So basically, we can now connect a serial DCA cable for each of these router. So this one, just like this one. Okay. So click, and then we're going to use this one, serial 03/0, and then going to router to the same serial number or port number. All right. The next is we're going to connect this one. So we're going to use straight through, and then gigabit 0/0. And then we're also going to connect this one to gigabit port of the switch, which is 0/1. Excuse me. And the next is, of course, gigabit 0/1, and then we're going to connect it to switch to gigabit 0/1. Okay, and then we're also going to connect this one. All right, support fast Ethernet 0/1, and then fast Ethernet port of the PC. The same with the switch 2. We're going to connect to the port 1 or fast Ethernet 0/1, and then the fast Ethernet of the PC. Okay, so I'm going to do the same, exactly the same for this network. Okay, so connect to the gigabit, all right, and still gigabit, all right, bit 0/1, and then gigabit 0/1, and then for the PC we have here fast Ethernet 1, and then fast Ethernet for the PC, fast Ethernet 0/1, and then okay. So now we've put all the necessary cabling in our topology. So let's go ahead and set the necessary IP address for each of these interfaces, each of these active interfaces. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up our uh, table. So you may directly access this router, this one, but you can also put a console cable from the PC going to the router. So just like this one, which I will be using the PC one as the end device to configure our router. So I'm going to put the console cable. I'm going to add console cable here. So click console cable and then RS232 port, and then we're going to connect to the console port of the router. And then after that, so instead of opening it here and configuring it here, though it would be still available if you try to configure it here, but in my own opinion, it's very nice to configure from the PC. It's because you will you will what we call this, in real life scenario or in actual setup, you're going to configure your router using a end device or using a PC. So let's practice uh, that method or that process. Okay, so I'm going to open up the PC, and then desktop, and then here terminal, and then bits per second or the bit rate. So let's set that for default, and then click OK. And then in here, so we can now configure our router one with the specific IP addresses for each of these interfaces. Okay, so no, and then enter. So we're going to enable issue enable command. So en for the shortcut. Then we're going to configure first the gigabit interface. So by the way, I would like to show the active interfaces of each of the interfaces of our router. So I'm going to show the show IP interface brief command, show IP in BR for the shortcut. So as you notice, we have here, we don't have we have here gigabit, sorry, 00, and we also have gigabit 01, and then in this example, we have here serial 0/1, but in reality, or in actual port number of our router is serial 03/0. So we're going to need that one to access or to that specific port. Okay, so we're going to issue a command configure terminal, and then in here we're going to set based on the subnet, the gigabit 0/0 is we have an IP address of 192.168.10.1. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that one. So IP address, so int if a int gigabit, sorry, gigabit 0/0, and then IP address, so 192.168.10.1, and we will also going to input our subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and then we're going to enable or activate that interface using using the no shutdown command, no shut. Okay, and then we're going to exit. And the next is we're going to assign here the next gigabit interface of our router, which is the subnet is 192.168.11.1. Okay, excuse me. So we're going to enter to that interface. So int gigabit 0/1, and then we're going to assign an IP address. So IP add 192.168.11.1, and then the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0. So once we have set it, and then we're going to activate that interface. So using the no shutdown command, no shut. Okay, then we're going to exit. So after that is we're going to assign now our this one from going to this router. So we're going to assign an address of this one 225. All right. So we're going to let's see ship int br. So this is our port number serial. So we're going to okay, and then int serial 03 and then /0. Okay. Okay, and then click enter, and then IP add 209.165.200. For this one we have 224. All right, and then sorry, 225, and then we have here the subnet mask 255.255.252. All right, so double check. IP add 209.165.200 and then 225, and click enter, and then we're going to activate again that interface. So no chat. All right, so it's activated. See it? So we're going to show again by show the interfaces by using the command show interface, show IP interface brief. So it's HIP and BR. So as you notice, we have here assigned successfully the gigabit 1 and 2 with its corresponding IP addresses, and we also have assigned the serial 030 with its corresponding addresses. And now, if we try to ping, by the way, we're going to assign first our PCs with its given IP addresses, because we didn't configure here the router with the DHCP. So we're going to statically assign the unique IP address of our end devices. Okay, so for this one we have here 10 and then 11. So we're going to open up PC, then IP configuration, and then the IP address will be 192.168.10.10, and then the subnet mask, and then the IP address or the IP default gateway is 192.168.10.1. So that will be our default gateway. Okay, so we're also going to assign the IP address of the PC2. So using the subnet 11 dot using this IP address rather, that's 10. So PC2 and then desktop IP configuration. So 192.168.11.10. Click the subnet mask and then set the default gateway 192.168.11.1. All right. So if we try to ping the PC1, we can issue a ping command using the CMD or the command prompt. So we're going to ping the address of the PC1, which is 192.168.10.10. Okay, so ping 192.168.10.10. Okay, so just wait for a moment to have it reply. Okay, so as you can see, it is now pinging the address of the PC1. So the same concept, we try to ping the address of the PC2. So ping 192.168.11.10. Okay, so it is ping. So if you try to send a simple message in here, click PC1 to PC2, so we can see that it is successful. So we can therefore conclude that this network is fully configured and it is now have a connection to each other. Okay, so now we will be configuring the same with this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a console cable to the PC3, so RS232, excuse me, and then for the console port. So let's go ahead and open up again and bring this up our guide for the subnets. Okay, desktop and then terminal. Okay, and then click no, and then enable command, and then we're going to show first the active interfaces of the router using the show IP interface brief command. So sh IP int br. Good. Okay, so these are the active interfaces of our excuse me, router. Okay, so let's try to assign the corresponding IP addresses for these interfaces. First is we're going to assign this one, the IP address for this one. So I'm going to minimize a bit this one, maximize rather. All right, so we can see it clearly the addresses. Okay, so configure terminal. All right, and then we're going to open up our serial interface. So in serial 0 and then 30. All right, and then IP add 209.165.200.226. All right, and then the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.252. All right, and then we're going to activate that interface. All right, no shutdown, so it is active now, or it is now activated. So we're going to have exit, and next is we're going to configure this one, the gigabit interfaces of the router. So first is we're going to assign for this one gigabit 01 and then gigabit 0/1. Okay, so int and then gigabit 0/0, and then IP address will be 10.1.1. Sorry, IP add 10.1.1.10. So that will be our, sorry, that one. All right. So and our subnet mask is let me see. I think we can use a 255.0.0.0. Okay, and then enter. Sorry, I forgot to add the address here. Alright, so let's enter this one, then let's activate the interface. No shutdown. Okay, exit. So we're going to do the same thing with the other gigabit interface. So int and then gigabit 0/1 and then IP add 10.1.2.1, then 255.0.0.0. Since this is class A IP address. Okay, enter up. It is overlapping. Why it is overlapping? 10.2. Okay. Okay. So let's exit, and then so let's try to let's troubleshoot the IP in PR. Okay, so it is overlapping. So let's go ahead and uh, deassign this one. So we're going to write there /1. So no IP add to deassign. Okay, so we're going to exit ship in PR. So for this one, since it is overlapping, so as you can see, we have deassigned the bit. So we're going to use this another subnet. Okay, so configure terminal, then end gigabit, then 0/1. Then we're going to use another subnet, which is 172 class B dot 17 dot 99 uh, 172.17 dot 99 dot 1, and then we have 255.255.255.0. Okay, hopefully this will work. Sorry, I forgot to excuse me, to add the word IP add. Okay, IP add. Okay, so no shot. We have here ship in BR. Okay, so as you can see, we have successfully set our password for our gigabit 0/1 interface. So next is we're going to assign each of these end devices for their appropriate IP addresses. Okay, and then we will have a ping test to see if these end devices is connected to each other. All right. So for the PC, we're going to assign 10.1.1.10 subnet mask, and the default gateway is 1. All right. So I just copied and paste the address. Okay. So the same applies for the PC4, and then desktop IP configuration 172.17.99.10. And then our default gateway is 172.17.99.1. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and send a message. Let's see if okay, in progress. So failed. So we're going to send another message. Okay, so it becomes successful. Alright, successful. So let's go ahead and try if we can really ping the PC3 being 10.1.1.10. Okay, so it's pinging. But what if we try to ping for this one, the PC1? So do you think it will we connected? Okay, so let's try and send a message for this one. Okay, so from PC1 going to PC4. So as you've noticed, so it is failing or it's not reachable. Okay, so our goal for this one is to have a connection between this network and this network. So what we can do is we can have or we will set a static routing for directly connected routes for these routers, for the router 1 and the router 2, so that it will have a connection for this network going to this network. So if we try to ping in here, sorry, so if we try to ping in here the address of these interfaces, of this interface rather, so ping 209, I forgot the address, 209.165.200.226. Okay, in the 200 okay, 162.226. Okay, so it is not reachable by this time. All right, so it is reachable, it is not reachable, but if you try to ping it, in the router, going to this one. So let's try and ping it here. So ping 206. Sorry, I forgot the subnet. 209 rather. 209.165.200. 209.165.200.226. So we can see that it is successfully sending, or these routers have connection to each other, but we cannot ping the end-to-end or the end devices. So what we will do is we're going to set a route for this one, for this directly connected network. So we're going to set a default route. So we're going to open up terminal again, right? And then configure terminal. Sorry. So by okay, still we cannot ping. All right, but if we try to ping within the network, we can successfully ping. All right. So what we're going to do is to add a static route for the directly connected network. Okay. So we're going to have a command which is IP route, and then we're going to set static route 0.0.0, and then sorry, and then 0.0.0.0, and then using this address 209 that 165.200.224. Okay, and then if we try to show our running configuration, we could see here our routing. Wait, we stated the static route. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the router 2, right? Okay, so back to the packet tracer, open up PC3 and then terminal, and then configure terminal, alright, and then IP route 0.0.0, and then 209. So let's go ahead and open up our guide. Alright, 165, sorry, 165 165.200.224 224. Oops. All right, so show IP route. So we have here successfully setted our static routing. So as you can see, we have setted our static route right here. So directly connected. So, and here we have our static routing. So let's try and ping, issue a ping command. So we have here our address of 10.10 for the PC3. So let's go ahead using the PC1 and try to reach the PC3. Okay, so command prompt. So let's go ahead and ping the PC3 IP address. Ping 10.1.1.10. Okay, so as you can see, it is already pinging. So the same with, I'm going to ping the address of the PC4. So 172.17.99.10. So it is now connected to each other. So we're going to send a message. All right. Okay, so it is now successful to each other. So the same if we try to ping the same subnet or same network, okay, and then from here vice versa. All right, it is now successfully pinging or successfully connected to each other. Okay, so that's it for our lesson for today. So if you have clarifications or questions, you can ask me in my YouTube channel, or if you like this video, so kindly hit the subscribe button. Thank you, and we have an upcoming Cisco tutorial for this YouTube channel. Thank you.